First thing they get to know is how do they do the basics right.
Absolutely.
Make sure if they are going to sell, they understand recovery is the important factor.
That's right.
Anyone can sell,
Yeah.
but not everyone can recover.
That's true.
Right?
Rightly put it.
Yeah. So, welcome back to the 10-minute podcast. This is Rajiv, your Agriguy. Today's topic is about unlocking MSME success by navigating credit and default payment for business growth. Today's guest is Mr. Vinny Patro, who's the founder and CEO of Recordant. He's currently building a credit management platform for SME sector. With over 15 years of experience, he has some great insights for us. So looking forward to have a conversation with him. So hi Vinny, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Doing well. How is it going? What's happening in life?
Well, so much, always, right? So when you're an entrepreneur, there are always so many things that you think you want to do, but you don't do it.
Right.
So you go back to sleep thinking, what is the thing that I will do? Something different tomorrow, but then you try to jot down the note and then you don't want to pick up the phone later the night before you go to sleep.
Right.
You want to keep that in mind, thinking that tomorrow I'll recollect the same and start doing it. But yeah, next thing you keep forgetting it. But yes, I think it's part and parcel. We all have lots of things to go. So with Recordant, I think there's lots happening. We've been able to launch a new product version about 2 months back. So we've been sort of quite busy with the way we're taking that to market.
Right.
Yeah.
So interestingly, we have particularly chosen a topic where navigating credit and default payments for us, right? So we have segregated in 5 questions, 5 logics of businesses. First is a pre-KYC. What is the basic KYC documents you should certainly have with any businesses whom you are going to extend a credit line to? So if you can answer that for us.
I think here, if it's a B2B, I call it a know your business,
Right.
KYB. If it's a B2C, I think it's a KYC. Today, I think knowing part is, I divide them into 2 parts. One is identification information, right?
Mm-hmm.
Second is transactional information.
Right.
So when we now look at what's happening today is identifiable information is getting verified.
Right.
Whether it's an individual customer or a business customer. It's a business customer, it's a GST, and their company name, and the trade name, whatever, whatnot, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Part and parcel of a KYB. It's a KYC, it's probably Aadhaar or PAN, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're giving credit to your customer, that's not sufficient.
Right.
Because giving credit is about taking risk.
Right.
So you need to obviously do a risk analysis.
Correct.
A risk analysis on
Correct.
what? On what you're giving. You're giving
Right.
a product on cash.
Yeah.
So literally you're sort of lending. Now what you need to do, you need to look at the transactional information also.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to know your customer from a transactional information also.
Right.
Just not the identification information.
Right. Right.
So that's what should happen. That is not happening. Only part of the KYC, part of the KYB is happening. But when you're giving credit, that's not enough. You need to get into transaction information also. Taking
this forward, the second question comes into the mind for any particular business owner is what kind of risk analysis am I looking at, right? Before, let's say I've got your KYC. How do I understand what was your history like on which I can judge?
So to your question, which is exactly the pain point that that we're trying to solve, is that you said where I do everything, where do I get the information? To answer your question, there's no platform as such today that you can go and get that information of how the transactions have been made outside the banking system.
Got it.
Which is where we come in and we're building Recordant as a repository. And that's pretty much in the making. So
got it.
Very sooner than later, SMEs will have an option to come and look into the database.
So let's say I've given credit to my customers, I've been doing business with them. What are the basic follow-ups or methods of follow-up should I follow to ensure in the later stage, in terms of defaults or something happened, what kind of follow-ups or paperwork should I make sure is a basic process of my business angle, so that I can immediately later on use that for my benefit?
So the follow-ups, there's no one single formula as such, but today it's been sort of a tech-driven. There is power to what you receive on your phone or emails. There are people are responding to it. Therefore, I think the follow-ups are very important, but it should be I would be more relevant, contextual and relevant.
Right. Absolutely. So understanding this, that the tonality in the stages of where you want to recover your money, but at the same time you understand which business is having which kind of relationship which I need to maintain. So that means giving the leverage of helping the and understanding the customer more and using that leverage to eventually get your money back. Also, at the same time, understanding that payments are completely in debt and I have no probability of getting return, you then move to the arbitration stage or the litigation stage, is what we would suggest. A next step to getting the payments back. What is the legal system they can currently use, or what are the tools they should be using?
Yeah, I think, see, today there are quite a good number of tools. One of the things that we strongly sort of foresee today is the sellers should be able to use proper system of reconciling with buyers in terms of payment, because most buyers come back and say that I've paid, I've not received, I've not received the invoice, or all those things. Right? So that's one part. And post that, I think, taking a legal route, most of them hesitate to do it. Not only for the sake of the business relationship getting hurt. There are two sets of things. One is you can send a notice. It's called a legal notice.
Right.
That's different from initiating a legal lawsuit or legal proceedings.
Yeah.
That's two different things. Now, what comes first is a legal notice.
Right.
Now, your buyer is not paying. You waited for about 9 months. And what can you do now? Now you have an option to send legal notice.
Right.
Now, you need to send a legal notice where the buyer is, but probably the easiest and most effective way. So, therefore, there is a local influence and things like that, right? So, that should be done. So, today, I think earlier, of course, the platforms weren't there, but I think in the last 5 years, there are platforms, especially if you come to a platform like us, right? Which is for a click of a button. You just need to select a buyer and send the legal notice, and the legal notice will be then dispatched to your buyer. And platforms like us cover about 22,000 pin codes in the country.
Yes.
So that's vast enough. In most cases, you'll always hit your pin code 99% match of where the buyer is. So therefore, the legal notice is one part of it. I think definitely good. And then, as I pointed out, if there is an e-arbitration clause, e-arbitration should be taken up,
right,
even as an alternative to legal notice, or even after legal notice, or before even legal notice. That's your choice.
Right. If in case there is some emergency which might come up, you don't wait for another month to reach out for a legal action. You understand that it's just like having a food order delivered. You tap on the buttons which are relevant to you. Make sure things are processed, because now it's time that more than the relationships, it's also the professionalism of the business which will impact and which will help you grow.
That's
right? So if you can just say what is the differentiator has been in the last few years.
Even now, the systems exist, but I compare it to the earlier ones. Now, even the physical recovery teams have become a little more smarter, because today you can trace with the phone number which tower it is coming from.
Right.
So, platforms like us can sort of give you information on demand on whether the phone number is working. Okay, if it's not working, from how long it's not working, at least the location wise, not a complete location like a GPS, but it can give you a tower location, and then we can also identify whether this number has been sort of the same person is using some other number. So things like that can be decoded, but things like those will help the physical recovery teams. But overall, I was talking to some physical recovery teams, and overall we realized, we understood that in the unregulated space, it's very difficult for them to manage, because the margins are not going to really work for them.
Got it.
With the kind of effort they will put in.
Absolutely, because there's no way of tracking the buyer, because the KYC could be wrong, the locations could be wrong. It's just the invoice, which was again a word invoice.
That's right.
As individuals, as youngsters, also want to understand what are the government initiatives on such things happening. What are the platforms which are being built, which we should be tracked, or which we should keep on going to just give our knowledge.
Yeah. There's been a policy for the departments to sort of clear payments. And most importantly, there is a platform called Samadhan that is being built by the government, where SMEs, we order 45 days, if their payment is delayed, they can submit to the Samadhan. And by the way, we recently launched our knowledge center where SMEs can go and download all the schemes and policies available in India, that is statewide and the central government schemes. They can go to a website and just download this entire sheet, and they can use the schemes and policies.
Yeah, that's good for our viewers
Yeah,
also. They should definitely reach out there. Again, because I'm coming from the agri background, very relevant for people out of the GST bracket, right? People who are not trading into the GST, more on the fruits and vegetables, or there's right. What a simple question for these people: what should they be doing from what are they currently doing?
Like how I just pointed out that we have built a knowledge center for knowledge schemes.
Right.
The same knowledge center, we have launched a 99 digital toolkits for MSMEs.
Right.
So MSMEs can go and download that 99 digital toolkits. We've segmented into 10 different areas of business, like accounts receivable, and then digital marketing for that matter, or operations. So there are 10 different areas, and we've picked up the top 10 digital tools in each of the segments.
Right.
So it's all sort of a 99 digital code that we have. So SMEs and the micro enterprises can go and use such platforms.
Right.
Use all of those that we mentioned. Some of them they can pick it up, and some of them are free actually to use.
The first thing they get to know is how do they do the basics right.
Absolutely.
Make sure if they are going to sell, they understand recovery is the important factor.
That's right.
Anyone can sell, but not everyone can recover.
That's true.
Right.
Rightly put it.
Right.
And I strongly feel this is the decade for SME and B2B tech. It all belongs to this, because last decade we've seen the consumer revolution happening, and this year I think we will see a B2B revolution happening.
Absolutely. With this, I guess we can end the podcast here. Thank you so much for doing this.
Likewise, my pleasure.
Yes.